French fries are healthier than broccoli. And this is not clickbait, I swear. So make sure you hear me out. What's up guys, Enkiri here, and I came across a really incredibly interesting study this past week. I actually ran across this study shortly after Greg Doucette posted his recent video that said diet soda is healthier than water. I stumbled across this study right after that. It was actually kind of ironic. And so in this study that I want to highlight today, the researchers who were with the Global Foundation for Eating Disorders recruited a group of underweight teenage girls who had been struggling with anorexia. And the goal here in this study was to discover a way to get these severely underweight, underfed teenagers back up to a healthy body weight as quickly as possible in order to mitigate the negative effects of their chronic malnourishment. And in order to do this, the researchers split those girls up into the subjects up into two different groups. Now, one group was instructed to eat nothing but broccoli over the course of the study, which we all know that broccoli is an incredibly healthy and a nutritious vegetable. And the other group was instructed to eat nothing but French fries. I think it was something like they were instructed to eat whatever the hell they were going to eat anyway, but at each meal they were instructed to add a side of broccoli or add a side of French fries, depending on which group they were in. And obviously there were going to be some compliance issues here during this study, right? Because the subjects were battling anorexia, and so it was difficult to get them to eat anything at all to begin with. But part of what the researchers were studying here was overcoming the psychological effects of anorexia nervosa. And so palatability of food is obviously going to play a big role in that regard. And in a shocking series of events, the French fries were so much more difficult to resist as compared to the broccoli that the subjects in the French fry group gained back an average of 7.2% more body weight than the subjects in the broccoli group over the course of the study. And what I found most interesting here was that as the study progressed and as the girls ate the French fries and as the study moved along, they found it more difficult to resist the French fries as they were being given to them at every single meal. And as that happened, the habit of eating began to kick back in more and more. You know, it's a survival thing, it's instinct. So once you kind of kick that back on, it becomes more difficult to resist food in general. And as that happened, they ate the French fries. They were able to then segue them back into other foods, including broccoli. But when they started with broccoli, the girls didn't want to eat it at all. And so as the study moved along, their food aversion in general decreased. And I found that incredibly interesting. And along with that, the negative health markers associated with malnourishment actually improved much more drastically in the French fry group compared to the broccoli group because they were able to decrease their food aversion and gain back much more body weight. As such, the researchers concluded that, quote, participants suffering from anorexia nervosa enrolled in our study and asked to consume French fries at every meal were able to regain significantly more body weight than subjects asked to consume broccoli at every meal. These results provide support for the use of French fries as a tool for rapid body weight gain, end quote. And the authors declare no conflicts of interest here, and it looks like the study was fully funded by the Idaho Potato Commission. Not that that matters at all. So French fries are healthier than broccoli, guys. There's no denying it. And remember that you heard it here first. I've been espousing the magical weight gaining properties of French fries for years now. I think that's something that Alan Roberts talks about all the time as well. And this really just adds more fuel to the fire, right? With the emergence of this little known study, the evidence is really beginning to mount. And at some point, it is going to be really tough for you naysayers out there to deny the veracity of this evidence. And you know, man, some of the girls in this study, they had one foot out the door. They had been suffering for years from anorexia. They had lost very unhealthy amounts of body weight. But it turns out that French fries are not only delicious, but they're also really high in calories. So even though a lot of these girls had a high aversion to food at the beginning of the study, for many of them, the French fries were simply so difficult to resist that they were able to, even if they were only able to eat or willing to eat a small amount of food at a time initially, eventually they were able to decrease their food aversion. And because the French fries were so high in calories also, they were also able to gain back meaningful amounts of body weight over the course of the study. As such, I have absolutely no problem, I have absolutely no qualms recommending that everybody in my gigantic audience of 1 million plus subscribers eat as many french fries as they like, every single day, as often as they like, as many times as they like, as many calories as they like. It's all inconsequential because french fries are healthier than broccoli, and we can extrapolate that to everybody alive because in this one single, highly specific instance, they were able to play a larger role in returning a single subset of tiny little people back to a healthier baseline. So dip them in mustard if you're on a cut. Ranch dressing is a good way to add some extra fat into the mix if you haven't quite hit your macros for the day. Barbecue sauce is a delicious addition for diabetic people or for bodybuilders who are looking to up their dose of insulin. So really the options are endless here, guys, and the jury is out now. French fries are healthier than broccoli, no qualifiers needed. This is not clickbait, and the Idaho Potato Commission definitely did not sponsor this video or fund the study. So the next time you get a craving for a big, juicy quarter pounder, or perhaps you prefer a Royale with cheese, either way, make sure that you order a big old side of healthy fries to go along with it, and be sure to supersize that shit. Your arteries are sure to thank you for it. Now, before I go, I feel obligated to say that this video is 100% satire. French fries are not healthy. Certainly not more so than broccoli, at least not in any general sense. And the study in question here was entirely made up by me. The logic employed here, however, is identical, 100% identical to the logic used by Greg Doucette in his recent video titled "Diet Soda is Healthier Than Water, Not Clickbait," even though that video was 100% clickbait. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I've kept up with the research on artificial sweeteners because I haven't. I did my own research years ago, back when I was in college. I wrote a few papers on them, and I decided that they were innocuous enough in small doses, and I use them sparingly myself, generally sucralose, aka Splenda. So that should tell you my personal general feelings about them. Although there is more to diet soda than water and a little bit of artificial sweetener, but again, I'm not educated enough on those other substances to speak on them. What I really took issue here with here was not the recommendation by Greg that diet soda can potentially be used as part of a successful diet. That's undeniable. I personally would not choose to partake in it on any regular basis myself, nor would I advise anyone else to do so. But what I really took issue with here was Greg's inane blanket logic, basically giving everybody, the entire population, the green light to drink as much diet soda as they like because one single study showed that it helps some overweight people with their dietary compliance. Nothing more than that and nothing less. And so I found his video to be both disingenuous and, quite frankly, to be reckless. Personally, and maybe you feel differently, but personally, I do believe that most people's long-term health and well-being would be better served by trying to break out of the cycle of craving sweet foods. Because once you get yourself out of that habit, you're able to kind of kick it. It kind of goes away, at least to some degree. However, here with this advice, we're chronically feeding that cycle with large doses of artificial sweeteners. You can't get out of the habit of eating sweet foods or of craving sweet foods or wanting sweet foods if you never stop eating them, at least for a period of time. And I think that diet soda would have the exact same effect. Now, you might just keep eating artificial sweeteners, so it wouldn't necessarily increase your calorie count on any daily basis, but is that really ideal? Never mind that though. The real problem here is that Greg's logic is simply silly and nonsensical. And rather than encouraging people to use diet soda as more of a forgiving means of weaning yourself off of craving these ultra sweet, high sugar beverages like full calorie soda, instead he kind of just gives you a hall pass to consume the diet versions at your discretion indefinitely. Now, this same silly logic can also be extrapolated to pretty much literally anything else. For example, methadone is a prescription opioid used to help heroin addicts kick their addiction. It lasts longer than heroin in the body. Its euphoric effects are much more blunted. The withdrawal symptoms are protracted as compared to heroin, and thus the opioid cravings become much, much lower. So it's essentially diet heroin. And this makes it easier for a heroin addict to create a return to normalcy in their life without going back to the needle as they attempt to kick their addiction. And eventually, they're weaned off the methadone under medical supervision. So methadone, a powerful opioid drug, is obviously healthier for you than ibuprofen, because both ibuprofen and methadone can effectively relieve pain. But methadone can also help you kick your heroin habit. So if we follow Greg's logic to its painful conclusion, then the next time you have a simple headache, you should forgo the ibuprofen and pop some methadone instead, because it has all those added benefits. Or, please don't do that, actually. But the point is that there are levels here. Levels that need to be acknowledged. And you cannot blanketly greenlight indiscriminate diet soda consumption any more than you can blanketly greenlight indiscriminate methadone usage. You can't analyze one single study like this, assert the not clickbait conclusion that Greg has asserted at the end of that, because specific tools have their specific value, right? But attempting to extrapolate the value of a specific tool so far above and beyond what its actual value is suggests that there's some sort of ulterior motive at play, which in this case, it seems to be the ulterior motive is defining retaining the healthy stature of the recipes contained within Greg's cookbook. And coming from a guy who's frequently cautioned his fans regarding the ever-changing nature of research and the pitfalls of extrapolating the findings of any single study too widely, well, this just feels incredibly disingenuous to me, since this single piece of literature just happens to support his pre-existing agenda. And I believe it was also funded by some soda manufacturers or something like that. Anyway, I could go on and on about this in a million different directions, but basically, there are multiple other ways that Greg could have presented this information that actually would have been perfectly fine. But this wasn't it, Greg. And the damage is done now, but at the very least, I would ask that you amend the title of the video to something that's a bit more appropriate and a bit more reflective of what the study actually says. Anyway, it's all I got for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I hope you were able to take something useful away from it. I hope you found it entertaining as well, but please remember that it's satire. Remember to smash the like button before you go. Leave me some love in the comments, subscribe to my channel, all that shit. And if you're interested in online coaching or training programs, be sure to visit my website, www.EnkiriEliteFitness.com, for more details. Keep training hard, and I'll catch you guys next time.